If you're like me and you also are like, I'm trying to eliminate excuses, this is going to be the year where I show you through action and through the tips that I share how to make things more doable. Because I think we are in a space right now where so much of our world, our life is very stressful and overwhelming that if you're here right now and you are watching this video, it means that you want to learn languages. Maybe you're like many of the people who follow me and you want to learn multiple languages. Maybe you're an introvert. Maybe you're a perfectionist. Maybe you're a little bit of both. ADHD, autism. Like we're all struggling with all the things. And yet we're still here learning languages. Maybe this is the very first time that you decided you wanted to do it. Maybe you're like me and you've been doing it for a while. So we don't want this to be the stress, right? We don't want the language learning that's supposed to be fun and enjoyable, right? Because for the most part, no one is making us do it. We're the crazy people who decided to go off and learn multiple languages. And so we don't want this to be the stressor. And so I wanted to come on here and share. Like I said, I don't really have bullet points and things. Literally, this is what I did before I started. I created the thumbnail. I wrote some things on a sticky note and I said, good enough. Why? One, because I'm very confident in talking about this specific topic, but many of the things that we talk about, I try not to share anything I've never done personally in my language studies and my language journey. But two, because we just talked about it inside of Fluency Mastery Lab with my members. Literally Tuesday, we talked about it. Wednesday, we went through some accountability sessions and I helped some of the members choose their word for the year. So yeah, that's kind of what we're talking about. But I really want to set intentions for you setting intentions. Um, so if you're watching this live, definitely let me know, a little bit of a reaction or say a hey in the chat. And if you have questions, feel free to drop them. I am paying very close attention to that. Otherwise, I'm just going to dive in. I have my sticky note. I also have the PDF that I created for my members because I wanted to help you get started. So moral like the focus of this video, it really is to talk about setting intentions, right? It's the beginning of the year if you're watching this in January, but if it's not January and you're watching this at a different point in time, you can set intentions at any moment. This is literally something I said to my members because this is a resource that is going to be available to them. There's like a little bit more in-depth process that setting intentions, creating your study plan, creating your study schedule, learning a new language, all of these things, you don't have to start from January 1st. You don't have to start from from the beginning of a month. You don't have to start from the beginning of a week on Sunday or Monday, depending on which day is the first day of the week for you. You don't even have to start in the morning. You can always reset and restart. And so before anything else, I just want you to take that as permission to start wherever you are. And if the day didn't go well, the week didn't go well, you can always restart. A conversation that we had uh, I think it was the same day on Tuesday, was how some of my members are feeling overwhelmed already. Like we just started the year and they're already feeling overwhelmed because of all of the things happening out in the world and social media. And, you pick up your phone and everybody who's learning languages is like, day one, here's my list of textbooks and here's the classes I took and here's my tracker. I've already done 5 things in 2 days. And it's overwhelming if you are not also doing those things. It makes you feel kind of like you're not doing enough. And my client was just like, so I'm already feeling behind. And this is what happens to me every year, that I decide that I'm going to do something a little bit different, but then I get overwhelmed and then I try to push myself to catch up with people. And so I also felt very similarly, which is why this is the year that I'm trying something new, which was normally I would have all of my study plans ready by January 1st so I could start the first, strong with the 3 languages that I was going to focus on, the 5 or so other languages that were going to be in maintenance mode, the schedule that I had, the routines I was setting, like I would have it all done by January 1st. And if you follow me on Instagram, then you already know I'm working on a bullet journal this year because I did them before, didn't. Now I'm going back into it. That's a whole other conversation. But I gave myself permission this year that I don't have to start from January 1st. So I actually did a lot of reflection, and me and all of us inside of the community did a lot of reflection in December. And then we this week are actually doing a 7-day planning challenge. So we're easing into the new year with really sort of low stakes and I don't know how else to describe it. Just like we're slowing down our pace in how we're starting our language studies this year for 2025. Um, and so what I want to do is give you that same permission. Like I said, you know what? I looked at the calendar and I said, okay, you can wait to start on the 10th. Give yourself 10 days to figure things out, to you know, get a handle on the stress you know is going to start at the beginning of the year, because I'm a perfectionist and I'm like, we got to start from day one and we got to do every single day. But that's literally what I don't teach. Like I don't tell the strategies that I share are consistency is not every single day. But the perfectionist in me is like, yeah, that's cute. So I gave myself permission to start on day 10, which would be today. And so my bullet journal is nearly done. And I just want to come on here to share a strategy on how to get that started. So the reason why I really like setting your intentions with your language studies, and in this case, this specific activity, is because when you have a clear expectation on what you expect to achieve in your language studies, the milestones you want to reach, if you're a goal setter, then the goals that you're trying to achieve. If you are like me and my people, we focus a lot more on habits than the goals, although we do set milestones. Then you are able to avoid or ignore the things that aren't aligned with that much easier than if you don't set your intention. So if you don't have a clear expectation for how you want this year to go, and it can change, but if you don't set that expectation, then every time a new resource comes out, or every time you get that email from things like Babbel that are like, hey, this once in a lifetime deal for 50% or our lifetime access, you're always going to want to buy the thing. And then you know yourself that you're not actually going to use the thing, but now you've added more to your plate. But when you set those intentions of here's the year that I'm trying to have, here's the things that I'm trying to achieve, then you can see that email, see those things being presented to you and go, that's really cool. But you know what? I'm just going to put blinders on. I'm going to pretend it's not there, whatever you need to do to refocus your time and your energy. So, I've been setting and choosing a word for the year for the past 4 years formally, but informally I've done it off and on. And I do it for my entire life, not just for language learning. But when I first introduced this to some other language learners, I shared it specifically for language learning. And I didn't realize how powerful it was or how exciting it could be specifically for this until I shared it with other people. And I was like, oh, I guess I got to talk about this more. So I set a word for the year, and really that word is, how do you want to exist this year? What are the experiences you want to have this year? If you've ever heard of choosing a word for the year before, then this isn't brand new. It's just doing it for your language studies. And I really think that it can help you to focus. So anytime that you're getting off track, you're feeling discouraged, you're losing motivation, you're feeling overwhelmed, you're feeling frustrated, you can go, okay, but this is my word. Am I living up to that word or not? And if you're not, adjust, revise, take things out, and then keep moving forward. And so I think I can just, let me see. I think I just want to start with some of the questions and dive into the things that you can ask yourself when you're trying to choose your word for the year. Now, I am thinking about turning this into a more robust resource because, again, you don't have to do this at the beginning of the year. It can be at any point when you're ready to set those intentions. So if that's something you're interested in, let me know, because I mean, I can easily do that. But the very first thing that I like to do, or one of the things that I like to do to start, is thinking about what word would you describe the previous year as. If you've already chosen a word for your previous year, then you're just going to look at that word and reflect on what that meant. Like when we set our intentions, nothing has happened yet. We're choosing a word and saying, I hope that this is what my new year is going to be like, but we don't know. We haven't lived that experience yet. But when you do it in post, when you do it in reflection of the previous year, you actually get to look at, okay, I set the word action. Where did I take action and where did I avoid taking action? Okay, I set the word consistency. Okay, where was I consistent? How did that happen? What helped me to do that? And then what hindered that process? Like what prevented me from being consistent? You're able to actually see concretely, okay, I was real consistent with Lingo Dear and I was really consistent with my classes, but I did not read a single thing all year. I had the books ready, I had them on my desk, and I never touched them. I avoided them at all costs. You get to reflect on that. So, first, what is the word that you use to describe your previous year? You can choose that. It can be multiple words as well. There's no sort of strict ruling on here, but I feel like it's important to keep it low. So, if you're feeling like there's multiple words, keep it under 3. The next thing that I think about is why did you choose this word for the previous year? So not just choosing it, but expanding on it. What does this mean to you? Define it. Maybe literally look up the definition of the word. When I was choosing mine, and mine has shifted slightly from what I had just told people like 4 days ago. Um, I literally look up the definition because I'm like, I want to make sure I fully understand this word and the context and the nuance of it, and then go, is this the best choice? And I'm actually, before we end, I'm going to share my word and then how I was able to change it, what it was originally, what I shifted it into. So, why did you choose this word? And if you can, this is the opportunity to start listing out some examples. This is the brain dump. If you know anything about how I process and how I support people in processing all of these things, we always start with a brain dump. Get all the things on the paper first and then evaluate and analyze. So write it all down. Do not edit your thoughts. Do not edit down what it is you're trying to say. Just get it down. Why did you choose this word? And then I want you to think about really 2 different ideas, 2 big questions. What do you want to experience this year? And specifically in our language studies. So, what is it that you want to experience, that you want to do? What is a milestone that you would love to achieve and love to celebrate? So, when you think about yourself in October, November, December of this year, what is something that you would love to say that you've done, that you would love to say that you've experienced, that you would love to say, I am this now? Maybe it's about the levels. So we're thinking about the A1, A2, B1, B2, C1, C2. Maybe you are thinking in those areas, whether you're formally taking an exam for your language studies or you're informally doing it like a free one online just to get a gauge of where you are. And maybe once you get there, you really are going to feel so much better about your progress because it feels more concrete to you. Maybe it's not that. Maybe it is a drama that you've always wanted to watch with subtitles in the language that you're learning or with no subtitles at all. And you're like, if by the end of the year I can watch this whole series completely and fully understand it, that is a game changer for me. And so it's something about me being able to watch the things that I enjoy. So writing down those things, that's the things you want to experience. Those are also going to help you to decide, okay, what strategies do I need to use to get there? What resources do I need to use? Okay, maybe I'm a super, super beginner and my goal is this really advanced novel. I don't know anything. So, what are the words that I need to know in order to understand this text? And then you create your own vocabulary list. You're not just learning random words that you'd never use. You can learn those later because, you'll have to understand many of them when other people are using it. Right now, it's about you. And what do you need to know in order to do the thing that you want to do? That's what we're focused on right now. So, what do you want to experience? What do you want to have and be this year? And then also, what do you want to let go of? I think so many times we don't think about this part. It's like we're carrying all the things that we did and experienced and adding on to it into the new year. It's almost like you have this backpack that you've already filled to the brim with everything of the previous year. And you hop into the new year and you're like, okay, here's 3 more things. And you're trying to find space in the backpack to fit these 3 other things. Stop stuffing it. Unpack it. Put some of those things away. Give them away to someone else who might need it more than you do. Toss it. Throw it out. Whatever it might be. This is your spring cleaning, even though it's still, at the time of this video, it's still winter. But this is your spring cleaning of your studies, let's say. And it is okay to let things go. So you're like, if you're like me, for example, and you've been trying flashcards for years and years and years and years, and you're like, I don't know why this isn't working, why I can't be consistent with them. You can try another way, or you can just let them go, because flashcards is not the one and only way to do things. Think about the goal of flashcards, for example. It is to help you get in constant contact with vocabulary, with grammar, with sentences. There's tons of ways to do that without using flashcards. So you can decide to let them go. Similarly, if you've been using an app like Lingo Deer, Duolingo, Babbel, off the top of my head, I can't think of literally any others, but those are three that immediately come to mind, and you feel like you haven't made as much progress as you wanted to, well, you can keep using those apps and figure out a better way to manage it, or a better way to review, to practice what you've learned, because a lot of the times what is missing is people aren't practicing outside of these apps, and so you're not really seeing as much progress as you'd like to see. Or you could drop those apps and do something completely different. It is up to you how you decide to do this, but the goal is to do what works best for you. So what do you want to keep, and what do you want to experience in this new year? And then what do you want to let go of? Think about those two questions, about your answers to them, and also about just everything that you experienced in the previous year. And maybe you're coming to this and you're like, Bront'e, this is my first time learning languages. Like, I'm brand new to this. Then you might think about just life in general. What would you describe your life in general like? What were some things you experienced? Like, what is a word you would use for everything else that was going on? Because our language learning life is not an isolated experience, right? We're not in a bubble when we're learning languages. We're learning languages. We are whole people. We have jobs, we have school, we have families, we have friends that we still want to hang out with and not isolate ourselves. Maybe not all the time. Sometimes as introverts, we just need the 3 to 5 business days to recover, but we're not trying to do it all the time. And so what about your life could potentially impact positively or negatively your language studies? This is another way that you can think about it if you are feeling like you don't have anything to reflect on within your language studies. Again, if you're like brand new to this whole experience, and also welcome. And so really you can think about those 4 questions. So when I was thinking about my own word of the year, I first looked at the words that I chose, like in previous years. I literally went through, and I'm actually going to pull it up right now on my Notion, because word of the year. Okay, so we're missing one. 1 second. 23, 22. I guess it was since 2022. Yeah. Oh yeah, because 2021 I started in June. Okay, so in 2022, my word of the year was intuition. That was for my entire life. And the way that I defined this and the way that I reflected on it was, I wanted to develop trust in myself and my ability to make moves, to get things done, and not overthink. I am an overthinker. And I recognize that because sometimes I say the things that are overthinking, and then I literally go, but it's probably overthinking, or like, am I thinking too much about this? Like, I'll ask people, hey, I need a second opinion. Am I going too far with this? Am I going down the rabbit hole? I need help getting out of it. So not overthinking things to the point of anxiety, and not regretting choices that lead to depressive states. So a lot of times my overthinking can make me anxious, and then that anxiety leaves me to feeling like depressed, essentially, where I'm just like, I suck, nothing's going to work. The perfectionist in me is like, see, I told you, if you can't do it right, don't do it at all. Like, that's the mentality of the perfectionist in my brain many times when it's not in a healthy state. And so I was like, I do not want my year to be like this. So I chose intuition. And what that meant is everything in my life and in my language studies was based off of intuition. How does it feel? How do I trust this decision? And so the resources that I chose, the strategies that I used, the actions that I took, the actions that I avoided, I literally just sat with myself and asked, how does this feel? If I make this decision, how is it going to feel? But what I also asked myself is, if I was not allowed to do this thing, how would I feel? And I think that actually created a bigger, maybe stronger reaction for me when I was like, if you were told no, because telling me no, when it comes to things that I would like to do for myself or like relax. So I was like, if someone said, no, Bront'e, you're not allowed to do this, how would you react? And the first feeling that comes up is the intuition that I was like, oh, okay, I guess I need to do this then, and I need to find a way to make it doable for me. So that was 2022. 2023, my word of the year was ease. So making things easy and easy to do, easy to follow. And the way that I reflected on it was making my processes easier to stick with, easier to accomplish, and also helping other people to create more ease in their routines. And so my goal was, I similar to my overthinking. My overthinking can mean that I'm overcomplicating things. And I actually had a conversation with one of my Fluency Mastery Lab members about complications in planning, and I'll address that in a second because I do want to share that. But I know I need to push myself to not always try to be an overachiever and do all the things. Like, I don't have to do sparkle shine polished every day all the time, because that's going to burn me out, and I have experienced that burnout because of that. So this was me giving myself permission to take the easy route. And easy route doesn't mean cheating, it doesn't mean like copping out, but what it really meant is that, and something I had to recognize in myself, is that my bare minimum is many other people's high achieving expectation. Like, and this is not a brag, this is not a like, oh, look at me. Although, thank you for developing the skill. But no, literally my bare minimum, when I do my bare minimum and I'm like, this is horrible, the perfectionist in me has the bare minimum a little bit leveled up than what might be expected when you say those words. And so I had to recognize that I could do the bare minimum and still achieve the things I wanted to achieve. It was still valuable. It was still helpful to me and to other people. And I didn't have to go above and beyond every single time I took action, because it wasn't healthy for me, or, wasn't setting very healthy expectations and boundaries with other people. So that was my 2023. And then this year has been the year of action. And literally, I didn't even define it this year because I was like, you know what that means. You know exactly, you know exactly what you need to be doing this year. I didn't even define it, but essentially, my intentions with action, both in and out of my language studies, is that I needed to not necessarily do more, but stop sitting in thinking mode. I default to thinking and planning and organizing. Like, those are my comforts, my happy place. And I will think and plan for days, for weeks, and then I will never do. I will talk about doing, but my natural instinct inclination is not to actually do. So I was like, when you plan, you have to do. You have to actually do the thing that you've set out to do. And so this past year has been so much of me taking action, again, in my language studies, outside of my language studies, doing different things. But the thing that I want to let go of, which is me setting intentions for this year, is the procrastination grew. I was taking action, but I was being more reactive in my action. And so while I was consistent with many things and I procrastinated here and there, again, I was very reactive. So things would happen and then I'd do the thing, or deadline would get close and then I would show up and do the work or to complete the task. And I was like, I don't like how this makes me feel, because then I'm always stressed. I'm always putting myself in a stress. Like, I am doing it. I am putting myself in the stressful position because I am waiting to do the thing. And so originally, when I was speaking with other friends and language learning people, and even with my members, I was saying my word of the year is probably steady or consistency. And then I really unpacked, well, what does that mean? That means regular action and regular focus. I always talk about consistency doesn't mean every single day, it means regularly, more days on than off. And I really had to think to myself, and I was like, but you do that. You are consistent. You're consistent with your business. You're consistent with your support with language learners. You're consistent with your language learning. You're consistent with your hobbies. Like, you are consistent. So then what is the problem? The problem is proactive. I'm not proactive, or I'm not as proactive as I would like to be. Because again, I use that word reactive. I was reacting to a lot of things, but I wasn't getting things done in advance. And so my goal this year is to be more proactive. So if I have things that need to get done, don't wait till the last minute to do it. Get them done at a reasonable time so that future me will thank me and have an easier time overall. And then when it comes to my language studies, being more proactive about my progress. So thinking, if I want to be able to do X, Y, and Z, like right now, I believe my focus languages are probably going to be at least German and Italian, because I still want to prioritize those and get those to a higher level. But I also really want to focus on Spanish, Japanese, Korean, French. So I'm thinking through how I can figure that out, and I'll have them done by the end of today. But I know that I need to focus on being more proactive, which means not waiting until I know I'm going to have a conversation with someone, or that I really want to explore this new resource or play a game in a language. And then, you know, anxious, overwhelmed, frustrated, and not doing it. Instead, I'm going to sort of sow the seeds bit by bit throughout my journey, my month, my week, in a more intentional way. And I can see how that's going to positively impact my language studies moving forward. That if I'm more proactive in like the strategies that I choose and not overwhelming myself, doing things at a decent enough time so that I can actually enjoy it instead of it feeling like a chore, then I can see how I would have a lot more freedom to do all the other things that I want to do. And so if you are like me and you feel that maybe you are consistent, maybe you do have steady progress, but you are more reactive than proactive, then you might choose that as your word as well. And if you have a word, please let me know. If not in the chat if you're live, then in the comments of the replay of this, because I would love to hear what your word for the year is. And so again, I'm just going to go over those 4 different things to think about. So a word to describe your previous year, in this case 2024, why you chose this word, some specific examples of how it showed up for you, some things that you did or did not do, you avoided. Then you want to think about, what do you want to experience this year? And then what do you want to let go of this year? So think about those 4 questions to brainstorm, and these will help you to develop your word of the year for this year. And if you want more strategies on the word of the year resource, I think I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to create the resource and share it with people, because it kind of already exists in some form or fashion for my FM Lab members. And if you want more resources and strategies and tips like these, don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to follow all of the socials that I'm on, all at the Polyglot Fox. And yeah, I think I have 2 in the description right now. So it's the language learning trackers and the goals and habits that I recommend you choosing for this year. So definitely take a look at those. And I hope that this was really helpful. It is my goal to show up more often like this in a very low stakes fashion. And I was like, I'm going to do a 15-minute live stream. And I'm looking at the time right now and it's like 30 minutes. I'm like, yes, you did it. I'm just very proud of myself, and I'm celebrating that. And I'm also very proud of you all for showing up, for watching this, for doing this thinking work. And please, if you have any questions about the process, let me know, because it is going to help inform future videos that I make, future resources that I make, all those things. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. That's what I came here to do, and I did it. All right, and I will see you all in the next video, or in this case, next live that I do, hopefully next week. But if not, I'll get myself on a better schedule, and I will see you all around. Enjoy.